from falling close to the ground. Perish or try to fight it, parachute now. Last chance, the final moment, parachute now. And deliver us to the ground. I wanna pull the string. On and on, I feel the speed. Too far to break from pressure. Too much to bear.
Welcome, everyone, to the Chris Parrish Podcast, episode 134, Streamlining. I do want to let everybody know that once again, Facebook has decided to be a little difficult to deal with. So we had some issues with it. But don't worry, I believe everything is settled and under control. So don't worry. If you had some difficulties, it should be back. You just have to go onto that Chris Parrish athlete page and it should be right there. So yes, everything is in order, just like everything is in order with thanking everyone who is responsible for getting this show going. And that's right, I'm talking about the sponsors. So if you can indulge me, thank you to W.GG. That's right. W is the official energy drink of the Chris Parrish Podcast. And yes, you can get yourself some W. Just go to that link, W.GG, and you can use Parrish10 at checkout and save yourself 10%. And who doesn't want to save a little bit of money? Who wants to spend a full price when you don't have to? It is a little insane, if you ask me, but nonetheless, W is the place to be. And if by chance you support Turnbuckle Studios and you want to support them, just hit TB Studios and save the same amount at checkout. Either way, we got multiple ways to save you money. Also want to give a shout out to Turnbuckle Studios and turnbucklestudios.org. That's right, that is the website you can go to check out not only every bit of content and things that are associated with Turnbuckle Studios, but they are the proud partner of the Chris Parrish Podcast. And speaking of sponsors and partners, Beercade YEG is not only my partner, my sponsor, but they're also friends, and they're great friends that are showing you AEW Forbidden Door tonight at 10544 82nd Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta. It is a free showing, so make sure you're checking that out. If you are a fan of All Elite Wrestling, make sure that you're letting them know that Chris Parrish sent you and that you have a fun time, because not only is the food good, the drinks are cold and the arcade games are a blast and the atmosphere is fantastic. So please go support Beercade YEG, as they are not only the home of AEW pay-per-views, but a lot of WWE PLEs as well. I also want to let everybody know that if you have been watching the show but you haven't followed, make sure that you follow, whether it's on any one of the platforms that you can find in my link tree down below. Please do that. You can also go to turnbucklestudios.org/hosts and you can click on Chris Parrish, and then boom, you get all that as well. And make sure that you check out Spotify, because that is a great avenue to check out all episodes of the Chris Parrish Podcast. And if you can, rate the show. Tell me what I do well, what I do bad, or just what you want to see or what you don't want to see anymore. I'm okay with criticism. It is fine. I'm not Bob Holly. I will be okay. Do want to give a shout out to Chris Best, who's in the chat saying good afternoon and good morning, Mr. Parrish. It is good morning for me. It is 10:20 in the morning on my time. It is 12:20 for everybody else. So let's just get right to it. 5 minutes in. You don't want me to talk about everybody who supports me. You want to talk about the good stuff, and that is this weekend and how busy in pro wrestling it is. We had Night of Champions last night. We have Great American Bash later today, as well with TNA Slammiversary, as well as AEW Forbidden Door. And we know the shtick here. I sadly don't have the time to watch AEW. So let's get to our Night of Champions predictions, and then Night of Champions results and my thoughts, as well as my predictions for TNA and NXT. Now, let's start with the obvious. What we're checking out Night of Champions for last night was clear. Who was going to be the king and queen of the ring winners? Well, if you knew anything about my thoughts about these tournaments, I did not like them. In fact, I really thought they were predictable. I didn't think they were very well thought out, and I thought there was too much established stars and obvious stars in this. I would have loved to see an Ilya Dragunov. I would have loved to see a Jordan Grace. I just would have loved to see people who haven't won much. Chad Gable would have been great since he was coming off that amazing mask versus mask match in AAA. But nonetheless, we had Oba Femi versus main event Jey Uso in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. And I can thankfully say Oba Femi defeated Jey Uso in a very quick match, but not much to really talk about other than Oba Femi seemed to take a lot from Jey Uso. And my thoughts is, yeah, it's because this company is fully behind Jey Uso as a singles act. They also know that when they need to, him and his brother can always help out the tag division, which, by the way, might want to go back and do since your tag division is not 7 days of the week, but it is pretty weak. But Oba Femi is your king. He now has a choice to face off against Roman Reigns, or at the time, Cody Rhodes. Why did I say that? We'll get to it. But Oba Femi, king of the ring, can't wait. He will go after one of the world champions at SummerSlam. The big question is, who will it be? Now, we didn't have to find out very long after the Queen of the Ring finals came in, because Io Sky took advantage of a cursed Liv Morgan, because as Danhausen came out to address the WWE faithful in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, it was Io Sky who interrupted him, told him that if he doesn't pay up to the Judgment Day, there will be bad things that happen. And we all know that if you threaten Danhausen, you will be cursed. And that is exactly what happened to the Women's World Champion. I thought Liv Morgan and Io Sky had one of their better matches. I'm not going to lie. But I do think this match would have been better received if it was in front of a wrestling audience. I don't want to say anything negative about Riyadh and Saudi Arabia because I'm not that guy. But it's just not a wrestling city. And because of that, please, I understand that there's a deal to go there. I understand there's a lot of money to go there. But so is London, England. It's a great place to go. So are a lot of places to go. Let's go there, please, more often than we go to Riyadh. I'm just not feeling Riyadh. There always seems to be something off about every show that goes there. And this time it was the crowd, because Liv Morgan, Io Sky, I thought put on a great match. Io Sky did defeat Liv Morgan. And at this point, I was kind of curious on whether or not we were going to get a Liv Morgan versus someone for her championship match, or if we were going to get Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for a champion versus champion match. Whether it was title versus title, that would have been remained to be seen. But it was Io Sky who defeated Liv Morgan, and she wasted no time as Oba Femi had a post-match in-ring talking segment where she looked right at Liv, who was sitting on the rampway, and said, I choose you at SummerSlam. And already we have a match on SummerSlam. It is Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. And it looks like the direction of waiting for Stephanie Vacquier has changed. I really hope we don't get a triple threat match. But what I do hope for is that we get maybe a climbing back up the ladder, per se, with Stephanie Vacquier. No, I'm not talking about Money in the Bank, but she not only comes back, she earns her stripes back into the title picture. And I think that would just be a lot better for her as an individual, because, I mean, nobody wants to see somebody gone for like 4 months thrusted right back in that title picture, unless the title picture is pretty bad, which I understand. Nobody's really too keen on Liv Morgan's title reign, but I do think just needs a little bit of activity. And yeah, hopefully SummerSlam isn't Liv Morgan's first title defense since WrestleMania. That would be quite embarrassing. But nonetheless, congratulations to Oba Femi and Io Sky becoming your king and queen of the rings in 2026. We saw Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker in what I thought was the match of the night. They not only fought each other in a steel cage, but they told what I thought was a great closing story to their feud. That's right. I don't think we're going to get much continuation out of this, especially when we look all the way to that finish where Seth Rollins was going to go for another stomp out of the corner, but Braun Breaker said no. Paused him. He was fighting up. He then did his break that he would always do right before a spear. Seth Rollins, he saw what Braun Breaker was doing. He jumped on the rope and gave what he called a super stomp, which is just a jumping stomp off the middle rope on to Braun Breaker for the 1, 2, 3. Now, I was shocked. I'm not going to lie. I really thought Braun Breaker was going to win. We were going to get a continuation of this. But am I unhappy about it? No, because I want to see what happens next. What I want to see is what happens with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins after. I don't think that doing this again in the long haul would have been great for both of them. It would have made them both a little complacent. Plus, they put on an absolute classic cage match, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. The brutality was there. The emotion was there. And I thought Braun Breaker really came out. Now, we can argue that his match earlier in the year against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title was a breakout match and that he belonged in the main event. But I think it's just as important to say, hey, can you carry out a top feud without a championship as well? And he did just that with Seth Rollins, and it was very great. We got T-Money Dash Yeet coming in on the YouTube side saying, in Canadian Wrestling Elite, who would be the face of the company in gear? Opinion for me, it's Kamikaze. Now, T-Money, sadly, I don't get to watch as much Canadian Wrestling as Elite as you, so I do know Kamikaze quite well, so I will agree. But I mean, if you want simplicity and you want effective, Danny Duggan does it pretty well as well. But how can you also argue Mentalo? I think Mentalo does a very good job as well. In fact, so that is what I think. But nonetheless, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, amazing cage match. Interesting, are interested to see what they do next. I'm there because I want to see how Braun Breaker grows from this. I've been hearing a lot of like, oh, WWE's burying the vision. They're burying Braun Breaker. No, they're not. If you think that, I'm sorry, but you're just not seeing the bigger picture here. You don't understand that you don't need wins all the time to be a number one guy. You don't always need to win. What you need to do is you have to be able to captivate the audience in what you're doing at all times. Bron Breakker is doing that, and he's doing this consistently. He's improving on the microphone. He's getting better and better with the storytelling in the ring. He is becoming more than just, I do a spear, I run really fast. So it is what it is. But you have to understand that what Bron Breakker is doing right now is maturing as a performer and getting better in front of our own eyes in live time. And we have to appreciate the journey, because we'll get to that in a little bit. Team Money coming in saying, I just realized the question I asked was filled with auto cracks. I apologize for that. It's okay, buddy. It's really okay. I can understand what you're doing. It's quite all right. Chris Best coming in saying, I personally don't think the cage match was the end for Seth and the Vision. Well, we did hear from Michael Cole saying that he kind of did mention that. And I do take a little bit of stock in what the announced team is saying. Seth Rollins in the post-conference did kind of mention that a little bit. He might not be done with the Vision per se, because it always seems to go back. But I do think he is done with Bron Breakker for at least the foreseeable future. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see Seth Rollins go up against somebody different. And maybe somebody non-Vision related going into SummerSlam. But nonetheless, it'll be very interesting. What I would like to see Bron Breakker do, I think, would go... I personally would like to see him go after maybe a Jacob Fott too. I think that would be a little bit of fun. I think maybe putting that tease for the Bloodline versus the Vision might be there. I think that could be a really fun and different thing going into SummerSlam. For Seth Rollins, that is the big picture. I don't know. I think Roman Reigns makes a lot of sense, but I do think Obafemi and Roman Reigns makes a lot of sense as well. So, yeah, maybe this is one with Seth Rollins I'm just going to have to watch and see how it plays out. Next up, we have a pair of United States Championships, and we will start off with the men's. Trick Williams going after Ricky Saints and defending his title. We saw Ricky Saints try to pull some tricks, some underhanded tactics. Did not work. Trick Williams got the best of them. They tried to bring in Lil Yachty. That didn't work. Ricky Saints, one of those, in my opinion, one-offs. Didn't get the job done. Back to the drawing board for Ricky Saints. Trick Williams. Yeah, fight to live another day as champion. It'll be now a little bit more intriguing what they're doing with him. I do think they're getting into a little rough waters with Trick Williams as United States champion. Not in the sense that I think he's doing a bad job. I just think right now the scene isn't very interesting. And I think they have to get a little bit better. And when I say they, I do mean the creative, the company. I do think there needs to be some new blood going there. And I'll be very intrigued to see what they do next. Next up, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, and I thought this was a really good match. In fact, I thought this was their better match than when they faced off at WrestleMania or not WrestleMania, but earlier for when they fought for the women's WWE women's title. I really think Jade is becoming more confident in who she is inside the ring, and I do think it tells. She's taking her time a little bit more. She still hesitates, but I think she hesitates a little bit about being a general and when not to be. And I think that's kind of apparent. But the attempts there, you can tell she's going to get better. I rather somebody have that issue of trying to be better than somebody trying just to kind of step out. So I do think Jade Cargill has the mindset of someone who's going to be a serious player, as well as I think Tiffany Stratton does as well. And I think this is interesting combination because I do view them both as two people who now they are former world champions. They are now battling over the United States Championship. They had a great match, but they're doing this together, and I think this is very much great because I do think what Tiffany Stratton is as a babyface, Jade Cargill is as a heel. So I think they really blend in perfectly, and I'm really curious to see what this match would be 3 to 5 years down the road when they're both extremely matured and more confident in who they are in their characters at this current stage than they are now, because what they are now, again, they're maturing in front of our eyes. It's fun to watch, and I enjoy it. But is this going to be their best match together? No. Was it the worst? Absolutely not. In fact, the story was great. We saw Chelsea Green come in and try to help out Tiffany Stratton by taking out B-Fab and Michin. And then we saw Charlotte get into play as Jade Cargill was looking to hit Tiffany Stratton with the U.S. title that was just laying at the corner of the ring. But Charlotte comes out, grabs the title, blasts Jade Cargill when the referee wasn't looking. This sets up a moonsault by Tiffany Stratton. 1, 2, 3. It looks like we're going Jade Cargill and Charlotte at SummerSlam. So there you go. And this is something that I think I'm enjoying. We got Jade and Charlotte pegged for SummerSlam. I'm going to guess. And now we got to find out, okay, what does Tiffany Stratton have? What would be a great competitor for her? I think if I'm going to go with anything, this is where I turn Jordan Grace heel, and I go Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. In fact, or not Jade Cargill, Jordan Grace. And then you can also have Blake Monroe join in that, as she can then take out the Chelsea Green factor. Something about those four make a lot of sense over that United States Championship. And that leads us to our main event match, our triple threat match for the WWE Undisputed Championship. But before that, we'll get to Chris Besson. I got to say, I'm liking that we are possibly getting a feud between women that's not for a title. Yeah, I mean, we also have that on Monday when we saw Lyra turn on Bayley, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, your main event, WWE Undisputed Championship, Gunther and Sami Zayn challenge Cody Rhodes. And this match was fun. It was very quick. I love all three of these competitors individually. I think they all bring something different to the table. I think the one thing we could honestly admit, it was probably time for Cody to walk out not champion. And I think that's okay. The one thing I will say about Gunther and his coming back to SmackDown is there's too much complaining with the character side of things. I want to see more of a silent monster. I want to see more Thanos in Gunther. And I think that's fine. I don't want to see him have to talk. I want him to understand a situation, take a breath, and I then want him to say the next thing that makes you a little worried, but also you brush off because you don't think it's possible. And then he makes it possible. That's the Gunther I kind of want. I don't want this Gunther of, oh, look, I go the Drew McIntyre route. All I do is complain to the general manager about, I got screwed. You have a conspiracy on me, blah, blah, blah. It's a little worn out for me, and I just want to stop it. Don't do this to Gunther. And then you have Sami Zayn, who I thought brought a lot of energy into this match. I really did. say what you want about the current character of Sami Zayn and whether or not you wanted him to turn heel based on his United States title run and feud with Trick Williams. But I really think he brings in an emotional factor into this triple threat that Gunther and Cody just failed to do. And because of that, I'm happy what they did. I'm very happy, not for the sole point of what they did, but how they did it and why they did it. Because Cody Rhodes needed to drop the title, and he did. Gunther needed to kind of take a step away, and he did. Sami Zayn was in a position where he needed the accomplishment and get to garner the respect, and he did it. Sami Zayn did it in the most Sami Zayn ways. It wasn't a haluva kick, and it wasn't a dramatic Blue Thunder Bomb that got it done. It was a simple roll up from a crossroads. It was pure wrestling at its finest in that same transition. It was a counter. It was nothing different than when Owen Hart did it to Bret at WrestleMania 10. It is no different from when Shawn Michaels did it to Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19. And it's no different than what Sami Zayn just did to Cody Rhodes last night. And Sami Zayn, for the first time in his career, is the WWE undisputed heavyweight champion. Take that in. Sami Zayn is undisputed champion in WWE. And if you need some time to think about that, well, how about a minute 8? And you can check out every single one of our shows as you divulge the fact that Sami Zayn on June 28th of 2026 is world champion.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night, we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday, we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays, let us power your dreams with the Xbox Showcase at 9 p.m. Friday, we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Wrestling Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
Sami Zayn, undisputed champion of the world. Now where do we go? Do we go him versus Cody? Do we go Sami Zayn versus Obafemi at SummerSlam? I don't know. But what we did get after the show, it was on the socials. We did see Gunther do exactly what I don't want to see him do. He got a little whiny against Nick Aldis. In fact, he got a little whiny, but also physical. He got in the face of Nick Aldis, told him you're just jealous because you are a failed wrestler. He then said enough to get a push. He was in the face. He then grabbed him, and they had a little bit of a very nice little brouhaha without any punches thrown, but enough to see Nick Aldis physically fight back. Just a little. Just enough for you to wonder, maybe, just maybe, are they teasing Gunther versus Nick Aldis? I mean, would anybody say no to that? I know I wouldn't. Could we see Nick Aldis do maybe appoint someone to face Gunther? I don't know. But I'm very curious to see what Nick Aldis and Gunther could do on Friday. We got Andre C coming in saying, well, howdy doody, sir. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? So, in essence, that was Night of Champions. Was it a great show? Maybe. I didn't think the fans made it a better show than what we got in the ring. I didn't think it was a terrible show. I think the surprise and shock factor in the main event got people talking afterwards. So I think you did your job. We got some clarity on the King and Queen of the Rings and the who won. And we got a little bit of, okay, this is what's going to happen at SummerSlam. So it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst by any means. But everything can always be better. Even when you think a show's perfect, there's still something that could be better. Andre C is saying about to play Hogwarts Legacy until the Canada-South Africa game starts at 1 o'clock our time. That would be 3 o'clock Eastern time for everyone else. So yes, go Canada in the World Cup. Get to that the round of 16 as they are in the round of 32 right now. So, yeah, we got to watch where we can go from Night of Champions. We do know that was yesterday. Today, there's a lot of things. If you want to watch, again, Forbidden Door, make sure you go into Beercade YEG as they are playing that for free, might I add. Free. Who doesn't like free? But if you want to be entertained by a watch party for the Great American Bash provided by NXT right here, on my platforms, all of the Chris Parrish platform, that's going down at 5 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So let's get into the predictions, shall we? Because what better time than right now? We got 7 matches here tonight. We got, I believe, 4 or 5 title matches, which is pretty crazy. 5, I do believe. Let's start off with what was announced as your opening match of the night, and that is for the NXT Championship. That's right. Tony D'Angelo is defending his NXT title against Naraku, New Japan's Evil, in the opening match. And this match, I think, is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see how Tony D'Angelo and Naraku go in this match. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be hard hitting, and I am totally here with it. I think Tony D'Angelo has just improved enormously in his time in NXT to the point where I am certain this time next year he is on a main roster. But I think the same could be said about Naraku as well. But I do have Naraku becoming your new NXT champion. I think it's time. I think we got to go in a different direction with NXT. Tony D'Angelo, thank you for everything you've done in NXT, but I do think your time to be brought up should be after SummerSlam, and I can't wait to see that. Naraku, I do like the direction. I think it's going to be a lot of fun if he is the face of NXT for the next 6 to 9 months. I really think that, and I think somebody who could benefit a lot out of that is your men's North American champion, Miles Bourne, because I would love to see Naraku against Miles Bourne. But that's nonetheless. But Tony D'Angelo versus Naraku for the NXT Championship match, opening match. Can't wait. We know we're going to get absolutely steamrolling, steam lining maybe right off the gate, and I'm here for it. Give me Tony D'Angelo to drop the title to Naraku tonight. And then I said his name. So let's go to the men's North American Championship next. We got Miles Bourne against Tavion Heights. And sadly, I don't have Miles Bourne dropping the title here. In fact, I think Miles Bourne is walking out still your men's North American champion. I just don't think Tavion Heights is the guy to take the strap away from Miles Bourne. Could be wrong, but right now, I think Miles Bourne is... I think he's going to be the NXT champion by Stand and Deliver in 2027. Then I'm going to go with a couple of non-title matches. I'm going to go with Shiloh Hill versus Tristan Angels. We do know that this was a match, or they've had a competition to see who was Mr. NXT. I know that Shiloh Hill couldn't be there. Tristan Angels then took the title of Mr. NXT. So I do think we're going to either see the closure of this, and if that's the case, Shiloh Hill. But I like what Tristan Angels is doing. In fact, I kind of want to see this keep going. So give me Tristan Angels to win this match, simply because I just want to see what happens when Shiloh Hill kind of takes a step back. I want to see how he's tested when he has to go aggressive. I want to see that animal brought out of Shiloh Hill. Maybe we get it tonight, but I kind of want to see this develop. And then next up, we have what is a very emotional match in the sense of aggression, pissed off, upset, frustration, anger, hatred. It's all there. Saquon Sugars against Dion Lennox. Saquon Sugars came up with Dion Lennox, as well as the other members of their group. But we saw Saquon Sugars get kicked out. And what I was curious about is what we're going to get out of Saquon Sugars. And it was more or less kind of like a one-man gang coming out. It was kind of like a one-man gang meets The Last Outlaw meets Frank Castle. And I'm kind of here for it. But what I do want to see out of this is I want to see a complete brawl. In fact, I'd be okay if this was even a non-finish. I wouldn't be upset if both men beat each other up so much that they have to throw this match out. I'm okay with that because I'd like to see the chaos. I do know that NXT is very high on Dion Lennox, but I don't think that you're going to do Saquon Sugars any favors if he loses. So give me Saquon Sugars to pull this one out against Dion Lennox. And maybe, just maybe, he needs a couple members, say a Hank and Tank, to help him fight off the other members that accompany Dion Lennox. And this takes us to a trio of women matches. That's right. We got 3 women matches, and I think they are going to be not only the catalyst, but they are going to be the vessel that runs this show. We already know that the NXT Women's title is main eventing this show. But what about the Speed Championship? That's right. Ren Sinclair defends her title against Ariana Grace. And I will say, I had no clue who Ren Sinclair was before she came into NXT, but I can tell you she is one of the most entertaining acts in NXT. Now, is she the most polished in-ring worker? No. But is her character work absolutely entertaining and makes you care? Absolutely. And who doesn't like the relationship that has been building with her and Kendall Gray? It was always nice to see kind of what she was doing after her pairing Dempsey, but it would just be nice to see kind of her on her own. And we kind of got that. We got the Ren QCC with her and Kendall Gray now. And that's fun to watch. In fact, at some point, I would love to see Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray challenge for the women tag titles. But right now, Ren Sinclair is your speed champion going after Ariana Grace, who in her own right is also transforming herself into one hell of an in-ring competitor, one hell of an overall performer. And I'm liking what I'm getting out of Ariana Grace and just this formation of her character. I just don't think the speed title is the title for Ariana Grace. If Zarya wasn't your North American champion, that would be the one that I would love to see Ariana Grace go after. So I have Ren Sinclair walking in and walking out still your speed champion. And let's be understanding here, Ren Sinclair does not have to beat Ariana Grace in this match. I know that you can say that about all title matches, but this match could even end as a draw and the champion still retains. And then next up, we have Zarya going up against Tatum Paxley for the North American Women's title. And I do think this is going to get a little bit more of a conclusion. And I do think we are going to get Zarya winning this title, as I do think there's going to be some stock in Zarya moving forward in NXT. I said Miles Bourne as your men's champion in NXT at Stand and Deliver. I have Zarya as your women's. And this takes us to our main event match of the night. Lola Vice defends her NXT title against Kendall Gray. And I'm not going to pee around the bush on this one. We all know I think Kendall Gray is by far my favorite women's wrestler in NXT. She is going to walk out at champion. I am not the world's biggest fan of this title reign by Lola Vice. So give me Kendall Gray as your next NXT Women's Champion. The one thing I love is a little bit of swag. Whether it's shirts, hats, whatever. I like to look comfortable. I'm not a style guy. But if you do want to rock a Chris Parrish Podcast shirt, I'd be appreciative. And there's only one place to go, and that is turnbucklestudios.org. You just click the shop page, and you're off. You click into the Chris Parrish section. Boom, there you go. So if you by chance are in and want to get something that will help support the show, please check out the Chris Parrish Podcast on our shop. Now, if by chance you want to do anybody else, get something of anybody else, you have that option as well. And we would like you to do that. As well as if you've ever been wanting to get a start into the podcasting kind of roles, or if you even want it just to join the Turnbuckle Studio family, please go check out turnbucklestudios.org, hit the join function, and you're off. If you want to help us with our Discord, because we now are on Discord, you can go and say, hey, I want to help moderate your Discord for you. We would be okay with that because we are old and we need some help on the Discord side of things. So please go to Turnbuckle Studios, hit that join button. And if you want to help us out and you want to be a part of our group, that's the place to go. We do have a couple videos, so check out this. And in the meantime, get ready because we are going to talk some TNA afterwards.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
That's right, everybody. Also, please go check out Turnbuckle Studios on Discord. And if you needed any links, please go check out Turnbuckle Studios on all the platforms because we have that there. I will also find it and share it out with you as well. Also, just a bit on that Discord thing. Due to the weather conditions here in Alberta, where I live, I will not be able to stream TNA Slammiversary on Discord. Just do not have the time to do that, as well as the watch party for NXT. If I'm not on here, I'm making sure our house does not get flooded. So due to those scenarios, I will not be showing TNA Slammiversary in the Discord for people, but it is something I'm looking at doing down the road for some TNA shows. We do want to try to invite more to join our community on Discord, so please follow us to get more information about our Discord and whether or not you want a chance to watch some wrestling events with us as well. But TNA Slammiversary is tonight. If by chance you want to watch it, sign up to TNA Plus, get an account, and check it out. It is at 4 p.m. Eastern Time and have a plethora of matches. So let's get right to it. First off, let's start off with the X Division title. We have Ultimate X, and it is going to be a banger. Cedric Alexander takes on Leon Slater, Frankie Kazarian, Mr. Elegance, Fabian Eichner, Casey Navarro, and the returning Amazing Red. The winner is your X Division champion, and I am taking Fabian Eichner. Strap a rocket to him. He is amazing. I love the fact that he is in TNA, and I want to see what Fabian Eichner can do as your X Division champion. Next up, we have AJ Francis versus Elijah, and I want to see Elijah absolutely go 6 strings of broken guitar all over AJ Francis. Give me Elijah to win, and I believe if he wins, he gets all of his stuff back that AJ Francis owns. So give me Elijah and let Elijah walk the way Elijah wants to walk. The Elegance brand, Heather and M by Elegance, defend their knockout tag titles against Rosemary and Ali. They do have their personal concierge, but will that be enough to defeat Rosemary and Ali? I think so. I have the Elegance brand retaining, and I don't see those titles moving anywhere soon. We have Eddie Edwards with his wife, Alicia Edwards, taking on Moose, who has JDC, and this match I'm intrigued with. We do know that Moose was kicked out of the system. As soon as JDC retired and left, we saw a change in the system. We saw Bear Brunson become a member. We saw Moose get kicked out. And it was Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards kind of spearheading this change alongside Mr. Myers. So where do we go here? I'm curious, because do we see Moose kind of take down the system one by one? Or is this the master plan of JDC and saying, hey, look, I know I'm leaving, but I have this idea to really make the system better than ever? Will JDC turn on Moose and really make this a harder fight for him? I'm leaning that way. But I also want to see kind of what Moose can do moving forward. So give me Moose with this win because I'm more intrigued with the story of Moose fighting the good fight here. We got Leia Yang Lee challenging Zaya Brookside for her Knockouts title, and I think this match is going to be a lot of fun. In fact, I actually think this is my dark horse match of the night, but I still have the champion retaining her title. Lei Ying Lee, I do think, is going to walk out still your Knockouts champion. Next up, we have the international champion Mustafa Ali, obviously with Tasha Steelz and Special Agent Zero, takes on a mystery opponent. And we've been hearing that a former Intercontinental champion could show up, and I do think that's going to be the case. I think his mystery opponent is going to be Apollo Crews. I do believe he probably will go either by the name Apollo or even by his independent name or a combination of both afterwards. I don't think he'll be Apollo Crews. If he will be, that'd be great. I do think there's a lot of stock in that. But I do think Apollo, in some way, shape, or form, will be the opponent for Mustafa Ali. But I still think Mustafa Ali will get the job done and retain his championship. I still have Ali going in, but I do have Apollo as that former Intercontinental champion who's going to not only show up, but be the mystery opponent for Ali. And then, boy, do we have a tag team match. A tag team title match. Absolutely just stacked. It's, get this, we got the Broken Hardys. If Matt and Jeff wasn't good enough for you, we got the Broken Hardys. We have the System in Brian Myers and Bear Bronson. We have the Righteous in Vincent and Dutch, and then we have the great hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. And not only this, but it is a tag team title in a ladder match. Yeah. Ladder match, 4-way title. This is going to get absolutely violent, and I'm here for it. The great hands were added last minute by Daria. I love it. We all know I'm a big Jason Hotch fan. Love him. And I'm going to go there. Give me the great hands to be the team that takes the championships here. I just have a feeling they're going to worm their way into those titles, and I'm here for it. Next up, we have Mike Santana defending his TNA World title against Nick Nemeth, who is calling his shot from that Collier Shot gauntlet. Or not Collier Shot. Is it Collier Shot? Anyway, he's calling a shot against Mike Santana. And I am absolutely stoked. This is, in my mind, going to be one of the best matches of the night. I love Mike Santana. I know there's rumors that once his TNA deal is going to be done, there are interests from WWE to sign him. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the long term for Mike Santana, but I don't think that is the right now. So I think we might just get a little bit of a tease. I think we're going to get a lot of a tease out of this. I know Mike Santana has been really taking out Nick Nemeth's brother to as kind of a lead up here. I think Ryan is going to be a little bit of a key component in this match, but unless we see Nick Nemeth go full on heel, if we get Nick Nemeth joining up with TNA this is Carlos Silva, and Carlos Silva is the one who turns his back on Mike Santana. That is the only way I feel Mike Santana is losing this title. I do think Mike Santana, I have just a feeling that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on, and I think Mike Santana should walk out champion. I like where the story's going, but if we're going to do something big here, have Carlos Silva turn on Mike Santana and crown Nick Nemeth your new TNA champion. If that's the way we do it, I'd be okay, because I need something big out of Mike Santana, to the point where Mike Santana says, I want one more match. If I lose, I'm done with TNA. But if I win, I'm your undisputed TNA champion. And then that's how you could go in that direction. But that's what I have for TNA Slammiversary, slated for 4 p.m. Eastern Time, TNA Plus, or however you get pay-per-views. That is your way to get there. Did mention earlier, Lyra Valkyria turns on Bayley on Monday. Outside of that, for Raw and SmackDown, I didn't see much to talk about, but I was absolutely stunned that it was Lyra Valkyria who turned on Bayley. We all thought it was going to be the other way around, but all in all, in the same week, within 6 days, we see Lyra Valkyria turn heel and Sami Zayn win the Undisputed Championship. Safe to say, there has been a lot of shock factors here in WWE, and we can't get too upset about that. I look at the time, and we are getting there. So on the Twitch side of things, we must do what we do. We must rate it out. So what I am going to do is I am going to combine everything onto one channel and then send it out. So if everyone wants to say or send a shout out, please, let's do that. Whoever we go to, just say hey and let them know who sent you. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, for now, this has been episode 134 of the Chris Parrish Podcast, Streamlining. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a part of this show, taking your time. And if you're going to be a part of the NXT Great American Bash Watch Party, I can't wait to see you. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's talk about next week. Episode 135, July Talk. That's right. You know. But next week, it's going to be July. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're just getting one step closer to SummerSlam. But let's have some fun. We're going to be able to enjoy not only Canada Day on Wednesday, but obviously on Saturday, it's Independence Day for all you Americans, as we're staying on the American theme this week, as Great American Bash is just moments away. So please let me know what you think. 134 of the Chris Parrish Podcast. Thank you all. Be happy, be healthy, be yourself, because at the end of the day, you matter. See you next.
Rip through the clouds, faster, catch us from falling close to the ground.